apparently people are surprised that Kamala Harris, a politician, is doing politics.
Is now racing to the middle. She's abandoned that we're not going to do fracking anymore business because you have to be in the middle to win, to get the independents to win. The other thing is she was fishing around for Republican votes because at one point, Dana Bash asked about, would you put a Republican in your cabinet? And she said, absolutely. She said, yes, she would, which goes back to the days when Barack Obama had Norm Mineta in his cabinet, and also George W. Bush did. Donald Trump and Barack Obama, actually, Obama did. Joe Biden didn't.
Right.
Oh, wow. Did you know a political candidate is saying political things in order to try to appeal to the largest amount of people? Wow. No way. How dare she? No. So now here's the thing, right? So they addressed her statement in 2019. This was Dana Bash on the CNN interview where she said she was in favor of banning fracking, right? Now, after joining the Biden ticket, she said the Biden administration wouldn't ban fracking, which they didn't. So now Bash asked her, and she said, I made that clear in the debate stage in 2020 that I would not ban fracking. As vice president, I did not ban fracking. As president, I will not ban fracking. Okay, so that's a pretty clear answer. She's not going to ban fracking. Now, in that debate, Harris was referring to Biden's policy plans, not her own. But at the same time, I think it's pretty clear that she's not going to ban fracking. All right. Now, I don't like it. Okay, I'm going to be honest. I don't like some of the things that I've heard. I do want her to ban fracking, but I do know that she's not going to. I think it's very unlikely that she's going to do that, right? I also don't want a Republican in the cabinet. I think that's a terrible idea. Okay, not at all interested in that. That said, I think, I mean, as a lefty, I am 100% sure that her campaign is not going to cater to my every whim, or even like 1% of it. I'm not the majority here. I realize that, okay? She is not trying to appeal to me. She knows she doesn't have to. I don't really have any other viable choices. Oh, you could vote for third party. I could, but doesn't mean any of them are going to win. So yeah, she's going to chase independent voters, okay? And that's what she's doing. They rate things like immigration as one of their top issues. Immigration, but of course, inflation. Inflation is another really big top issue. And so when you ask independents about a lot of issues, they're not really happy with the Biden policy. And so she's got to differentiate herself from the policy and go towards them in their direction. Now, thing is, independent voters by nature are not very well read on what's going on. And it's not because like they're stupid or whatever. No, it's because they don't generally pay much attention to politics. In fact, one of the things about independents that is infinitely frustrating is like, I'm not interested in politics because it's too, it's too partisan. It's just too much, too many people being so negative on either side. What? But okay, but you got to differentiate yourself somehow. And yeah, there is a lot of polarization here because there are two different poles. There are two different sides, right? And one of them is actually more looking out for you than the other side, okay? Republicans really only looking out for themselves and their donors, whereas Democrats, yes, they also look out for their donors, but are more likely to throw a bone to regular people in the form of like child tax credits, means-tested things. That's, again, my leftism is coming out because I'm like, oh, why do we got to means-test everything? But again, when you're dealing with independents, though, obviously you got to get them because you really can't win an election without them. At the end of the day, elections are numbers games, right? And so, look, you got to get out your base. They try to get out theirs, the right wing, and then what's left is that you got to get out the people that don't belong in either camp, okay? And so now, the other frustrating thing about independents is how they get their news, right? They're more prone to right-wing disinformation just because of how prevalent it is. It's everywhere. Fox News gets blasted at the auto shop, the gym, the dentist office. Can't really escape it. And so these right-wing narratives will seep into their minds. And they don't really see any alternative to it because, when it comes to the state of left-wing media, there really isn't a left-wing media. There is MSNBC, which is pro-democratic establishment media. And unfortunately, Democratic establishment tends to borrow too many narratives from the right wing. And so you got a problem there. That said, independent voters, they do have a mix of right-wing and left-wing positions as kind of a result. Like, for example, they might be more right-wing on immigration, which sucks. I don't like it. But they also might be like, you know what? I do want to raise the minimum wage. Okay, hey, that's a win. Hey, yes, universal health care. Be a great idea. But then, have, again, weird right-wing positions of like, well, I think Trump might be better on the economy. How so? See, that's kind of the problem here. The left wing does not have media and a message that is a real left-wing message. We can't get it out there. It just, again, gets completely blanketed by corporate media, which is putting out generally either conservative narratives or so-called, moderate centrist, narratives. And so that sucks. Now, that said, I think we should, be focused on strong economic progressive policy. I think that's how you get more people. You double down on labor, and again, these are things that the majority of people agree with, independents, progressives, even some Democrats, and Republicans as well. Higher wages. Everybody's in favor of higher wages except for, the bosses, right? Lower prices. Everybody's in favor of lower prices unless you're Kroger, okay, or Albertsons. You're trying to merge your, giant mega grocery chain so that you can play off inflation. Having a government that takes care of poor people, right? That's another thing that the vast majority of, regular people, independents included, that's what they're in favor of. And again, the people that are not in favor of it are the private organizations, private charities, and things like that are like, no, we can do it if you just funnel all the money to us. So that's kind of one of the big problems, right? And so, look, I'm not shocked that Harris, who in the context of the U.S. government, which is not exactly all that left-wing because of all this big corporate money that's in it, all the lobbying and all the misinformation and stuff, has a pretty progressive voting record, but is trying to appeal to independents, okay, by, again, taking some of that stuff that I don't like. And the other thing that I don't like that she actually disagrees with when it comes to the majority of people, but unfortunately, this is the Biden administration official position, is arming Israel. Polls have come out that said, hey, maybe we shouldn't be sending all these weapons, arming Israel, what they're doing in Gaza. You had a vast majority of American citizens that are against that. That unfortunately, in this same CNN interview, she doubled down on and said, well, we're not going to do an arms embargo. Well, no, we're going to do whatever else that so far hasn't worked. Okay, so we're going to double down on the same thing that hasn't worked right now by gently saying, please, Ben, please stop bombing Gaza. It's making us look really, really bad. And he's like, LOL, no. Well, that's not really doing anything, but an arms embargo actually would work. And it is supported by the vast majority of American citizens. Unfortunately, getting back to that whole big money thing, when you have groups like, Democracy for Israel or whatever, and AIPAC, these are all AIPAC-funded groups that are primarying black Democrats, black progressives, Cori Bush, Jamal Bowman, and kicking them out of their seats. And again, this is all backed by right-wing money. These massive conservative PACs are donating, and billionaires and stuff donating to AIPAC to knock off progressive challengers. Makes it really, really hard when you look at that and be like, can we take that position knowing that if we do go the opposite of the Biden administration, even though, again, we got a majority of the people to support it, that we're going to get completely obliterated buried in a tsunami of PAC money against us and anyone who supports that. And so that's the situation that they are facing right now. So again, it's not a surprise to see Harris take these positions. Disappointing, absolutely, but in her calculus, this is what I've got to do to win this election. I'm just not surprised. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.